This weekend I went to the Sonic Symphony Tour world premiere at the Barbican Centre in London, and I'm here to tell you everything about it. I'm a sucker for video game music. I listen to my playlist practically every day, whether to study, relax, play in the gym. Video game music travels everywhere with me. Some franchises in particular, Mario, Zelda, Persona, Xenoblade, but nothing can quite compare to the magic of Sonic music. Something about these kick-ass rock tunes playing while speeding about with a blue anthropomorphic hedgehog just hits different. So back in the first Sonic Central in May 2021, when they announced for the 30th anniversary of the franchise, they would premiere the first ever Sonic Symphony, I was beyond excited. A dedicated theatrical production for some of the best tunes in video game history, featuring the Philharmonic Orchestra, Tomoyo Otani and his rock band, and Crush 40? Sign me up. I will always remember watching Fidel Games Cage's stream on that day and losing my mind. Crying, screaming, losing my voice, all whilst in my home, at my desk, reacting to an event on my screen. As much as I loved every single second of the performance, a part of me was sad that the hard work of everyone involved would have to wait to be fully appreciated, seeing as how these performances would have taken weeks if not months filmed in advance. But appreciated they were. I think the 23rd of June 2021 will go down as the one and only day when Sonic fans stopped arguing over quill sizes or story inconsistencies and just sat down and took in the beauty that is the music of the franchise. So in earlier this year they announced the Sonic Symphony was going to go on a world tour, with the first stop being in London no less, the capital of the best country in the world. I knew I had to go. I vlogged my whole experience, so if you want to check that out, feel free. There will be an annotation in the top right of the video, but I'm here now to give a detailed review of the performance itself. Now disclaimer, I will pretty much reveal everything that was played during the event, so if you don't want to spoil yourselves, click off here. If you want the short and simple answer, then yes, go. It was amazing. But if you're still with me, let's get into the meat of it. So a quick word for the Barbican and the staff there. Everything was organised super well. There were plenty of places to eat and drink, to sit, and toilets were widely available. It was my first time in the Barbican and it lived up to its reputation. I do have one complaint though before we get into the event, and it is something that I and many others are very upset about. And that regards the merchandise, or shall I say the lack of merchandise at the event. To give some context, originally it was only planned for one show to take place in London at 8 PM. However, due to the popularity of the event, it was decided at a later date to host an earlier show at 3 PM on the same day. Merchandise unsurprisingly sold like chili dogs, and didn't even last before the first show even started, meaning there was nothing for those going to the 8 PM event, the first event announced. Fortunately, the event organisers are trying to find a solution to this, as a lot of us feel hard done by that. In better news, Sonic was there. He was stood in the lobby and we managed to get some pictures with him. I do feel bad for the person in the costume. The place was very, very warm, so I imagine they were feeling it, but they did a great job impersonating his attitude anyway. On with the show now, and we got amazing seats. The pricing got more expensive the closer you got to the stage, unsurprisingly, but I can tell you it was well worth the money. The pre-show had a countdown to the show starting, and there were no delays at all. The show was roughly 2.5 hours with a 20-minute intermission, and about 10 minutes at the end solely dedicated to the performers leaving to a standing ovation from the crowd, which was great. This is roughly the same amount of time as the 2021 version, so we weren't missing out at all. The show starts off as you'd expect with a Sonic 1 medley. It was the same as the 2021 version, as was the footage on screen, which emitted plenty of laughs from the audience, especially the Marble Zone and Labyrinth Zone sequences. Whilst on the topic, I thought best to thank the editors for the footage shown. I know Sam Procrastinates helped along with others, and they did a great job in capturing the screen time with what we were hearing. There were plenty of funny moments too, such as the "No copyright law on the universe is gonna stop me" line being used in the Planet Wisp medley, and of course, Tails throwing the Burger Man into the ocean in Sonic Adventure. After Sonic 1, we surprisingly got a Sonic CD medley, which I was super hyped about. CD, especially the Japanese version, has my favourite soundtrack out of the classics, excluding Mania, and it was a welcome surprise. We got tracks like Palm Tree Panic, Collision Chaos and Stardust Speedway, finishing off with a Metal Sonic race. It will be interesting if for the US show they will use the US soundtrack as opposed to the Japanese one. We'll have to wait and see when that takes place in 2 weeks' time. Sonic 2 and the subsequent Game medleys were the same, with Chemical Plant being a hit, and the ending to Sonic 2 on the Game Gear where it appears Tails is dead, bringing a chuckle to the audience. RIP fella. Speaking of chuckles, Sonic 3 and Knuckles were next. However, instead of a medley of different zones we got back in the 2021 version, we instead got one entirely dedicated to Sky Sanctuary. I was more than fine with this mission, as Sky Sanctuary is one of my favourite zones in Sonic history, and a fan favourite too. But Sega, please don't put it in the next game, okay? Thanks. It showed Generations and Frontiers footage that got a huge roar from the crowd. I think maybe got a rendition of modern Sky Sanctuary, but I'm not too sure. Either way, it was a treat for the ears. Sonic Mania was the same, with Studiopolis, Press Garden and Titanic Monarch being the songs chosen for the medley. A part of me does wish they got some sort of Mirage Saloon remix in there, especially the Act 1, Knuckles. That is one of my favourite tracks in the game. But alas, I feel like I'd be too greedy at that point. The Titanic Monarch part was such a bop. That level is one of my favourites in the game, and with the added instrument to the orchestra, it was just an insane listen. It just goes to show that T. Lopes is the GOAT, and any music he cooks will sound amazing. Unfortunately, the Sega Saturn medley got cut, so we moved on straight to 3D with the Believe in Myself / It Doesn't Matter medley of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. I love these two themes so much, and it was a shame we didn't get any Unknown from ME to complete the trio, but at that point I feel like I was eating more than I could chew. We also got the Child medley, the same one from the intermission period of the 30th anniversary, cut down to a shorter length, now featuring the Child Kindergarten, the races, and of course the karate. One of the best moments on screen was showing Eggman bringing his Chow into kindergarten. No yosh though, so it loses some points for that mission, unfortunately. Another sad omission I've got to say is Sonic 06. At the time I was disappointed because I love that medley with Crisis City, Soliania, My Destiny and His World all being played in Contandem back in 2021. My Destiny especially was something else, because that theme isn't really one of my favourites, but with orchestra, it was easily great. But alas, we had no Sonic 06 medley. At the time it was disappointing, but it made up for itself later. Instead, we got a Rooftop Run medley, with both the Day Stage from Unleashed and classic Rooftop Run from Generations sharing the glory. And this was such a good tune. Rooftop Run has got to be one of, if not the best Sonic Boost level of all time. And that was followed up by Sonic Colors, and a medley of Aquarium Park and Planet Wisp. This was easily the most nostalgic medley, because I grew up with Colors, and Aquarium Park and Planet Wisp, easily the most memorable tracks and places in the game. That fitted with the hilarious cutscene of the no copyright law is made for one of the best moments of the symphony for sure. Thankfully, it was the original version and not the Colors Mod version. To finalise the first set of music, we had the Sonic Frontiers medley. This was first showcased at the Brazil show last year, which includes a theme of Starfall Islands, 1-2 Flowing, and I'm Here. Flowing did sound very strange with the orchestra, but it actually fitted really well as an intermission between the Starfall Islands and I'm Here. Goosebumps when I'm Here swelled. And that concluded the orchestral part of the events. It lasted about 50 minutes, and it was announced on the screen that we'd have a 20-minute intermission break before the rock band came up. Overall, amazing. It was so much better in person than on a screen. The song choices were near perfect. There was a few disappointing omissions from the 2021 version, like I would have loved to hear Sonic R and 06 and a bit more of Unleashed, but I think the new renditions were just as amazing. That CD medley is still stuck in my head as of now. So the 20-minute break is up, and up come the rock band onto the stage to the theme of I Am All of Me, from Shadow the Hedgehog no less. And joining them on stage was the one and only Jun Tsunoe, part of Crush 40 and one of the longest serving musical composers on the Sonic franchise. He came out with drip galore, including his electrical guitar, which was shadow themed. Say less. At this point the atmosphere completely changed. Everyone was on their feet. They were encouraging everyone to get vocal and start singing along. It was a complete polar opposite, but we always expected this to happen. And to start off with Shadow, no less, like one of the heaviest songs in the entire series. I thought it might have started with Open Your Heart or City Escape, Something not as heavy, but no. I guess this is the rock band's decision to let the audience know how they roll, and what an introduction it was. The orchestra was also playing along in the background, and they made these tracks even more special. And arguably, some of these vocal tracks are the best they have ever sounded, period. Straight after I Am All of Me, June came up onto stage and had a quick word, and we were all bouncing up and down for him. He looked like he was in his element, and we all wanted to make sure he felt it too. And up next, one of my biggest surprises from the event. I was fully expecting Sonic Heroes to take place sometime, but we did get a City Hero song, and it wasn't the main theme. It was What I'm Made Of, the final boss theme. This is my favourite final boss theme in Sonic history, and to have it play was insane. And this is only the beginning. Open Your Heart followed, which was awesome, as always. Then Night of the Win on of course. And we closed out the Crush 40 segment with City Escape. At this point, I was in heaven. I could feel my voice starting to dwindle as I was singing along. In hindsight, I probably should have drunk water instead of beer. $4.50 for a pint of beer though, that was pretty cheap for London. Anyway, June said his goodbyes, he left the stage to a massive cheer from the crowd. These are the biggest we've had so far. And in his place was the one and only Tomoyo Otani, the lead musical and sound director for many Sonic games, including 06, Unleashed, Colors, Lost World, Forces, and recently Frontiers. He was on bass guitar, and I gotta say, he was looking pretty dripped out too. Not a lot of people rock top hats, but he definitely does. So he came on up on stage, we're ready for the next song, and what was it? Only His World. This is easily top 5 vocal songs. Sonic 06's soundtrack is so good that any of the vocal songs would have been great. Whether it be this one, All Hell Shadow. Dreams of an Absolution was, pun intended, the dream, but Silver isn't that popular yet. Maybe one day. Anyway, His World came on. This song means so much to me. I have so much love for the song and the game itself that to hear it with the orchestra was something you can only see and hear for yourself. Easily the best this song's ever sounded, and one of the best 06 representations in a while. Otani then comes up to the microphone and says his hellos. We made him feel very appreciated as well. And then he answers a question. Those 8 words made everyone went mental. Reach for the Stars is, again, because I grew up with Colours, means so much to me. To hear it, bombastic, was sublime. We then got Fist Bump from Sonic Forces, which I really enjoyed. Fist Bump is definitely a guilty pleasure song of mine. You know, I know a lot of people don't like it because it is very corny. But most Sonic songs are. I don't know why people single out Fist Bump. Maybe it's because of the game it's from, Forces. I mean, I still don't like Forces, but Fist Bump is definitely a bop. So we had that play, and then to close out this segment, we got the best ever rendition of Endless Possibility. Aside from Frontier songs, this might be my favourite vocal song. It just encapsulates everything Sonic means to me, and everything Sonic is. So to hear it in orchestral, rock band, and vocal form all in one was something. You know, if I wasn't singing and bursting my lungs out, I probably would have been crying. Like, it was something else. So anyway, the rock band left the stage, thinking we would have all been done, but obviously they came back for the encore. They couldn't leave us hanging. We still had Live and Learn, for crying out loud. That was all I was really missing. Live and Learn, and maybe a Frontier song, but I was kind of thinking, will we get a Frontier song? I mean, it makes perfect sense, but like, I started feeling greedy for a Frontier song. I travelled down with a friend of mine, Kieran, and we were both talking about if we were to get a Frontier song, which would it be, if any? I was adamant it would be Undefeatable because, well, it's practically Live and Learn of the modern era, isn't it? But he thought it would be I'm Here, with Heavy Coping would be One Way Dream, because that's his favourite Sonic Frontiers soundtrack. We were both wrong. They said they'd give us one more song, the screen fades to black, then footage of Sonic in Ares Island, and with it, break through it all. This was easily the standout of the show. Breakthrough All is the middle child of the Titan themes, really. Ironically, because it's the second out of the 3 unique Titan themes. I feel like it doesn't get talked about the same way Undefeatable and Find Your Flame was. So I'm so happy they played this. Any of the 3 All four Titan themes would have been amazing, but Breakthrough All was definitely the surprise, and I'm so glad they chose it. I got a new appreciation for Breakthrough All. Everyone was going so hype for this one. Everyone was on their feet, singing along. At this point my voice is really struggling, but I still sung every lyric like my life depended on it. Thankfully, we were treated to a break, with June coming back on stage to announce that there will be a live premiere of the Sonic Superstars opening theme. I'm already super excited for Sonic Superstars, but this made me even more excited. The theme was composed with June and T. Lopes. T. Lopes got a name drop. Mick Kieran thought he was here, and if he was, that would have been like the almighty announcement, but not to be. T, you're still a legend. Anyway, the theme was an extended version of what we've already heard from the opening animation, but with the orchestra behind it, chef's kiss. Then, it was time for the grand finale, and you know what it was. Live and Learn, the national anthem of Sonic music. And the whole place erupted. It was the perfect end to what was the perfect show. We all gave a standing ovation before leaving the theatre room. I want to give a huge shout out to every performer at the event. Obviously Jun Tsunoi and Tomoyo Otani were amazing as usual. And for them to come when I imagine their schedules are super busy, with Tsunoi on Superstars and Otani just recently finishing Frontiers Update 3. We as a crowd were so appreciated that they could come and make an effort, and not just that, make us all feel so happy and fuzzy inside about all the Sonic music they produced in the past. It is a shame they can only come to London and LA, but I feel insanely grateful that they were able to come to the one in my home country. Everyone else needs a huge shout out to Shota Nakama on guitar, Jose Delgado as the conductor, Dave Vives as vocalist, Louis A. Ochoa on bass, Derek Dupois on keyboard, and Blaze Collard on drums. Apologies if I've got any of those names wrong. And also a huge shout out to all the men and women in the orchestra. Dave Vives, in particular the singer, did a fantastic job hyping the crowd up. And singing all those songs requires great vocal range, because I Am All of Me and Reach the Stars are two very different songs. I had the pleasure to meet them all backstage soon after the show, and they were all super chill, happy to see everyone, take pictures, sign autographs and more. There were no security or anything to hold them back, but they were also chill and happy to see all their fans. It felt like they were just so appreciating of everyone that came to see them perform, which needs to happen more in these sort of events. Meeting Otani-san and Tsunoi-san was a dream come true, and I hope we made them eager to come to more shows in the future. So, to answer the question, was the Sonic Symphony worth it? Yes. 1 billion% yes. It was everything I could have dreamed of and more. I loved every single second of it, and it felt like the performers loved it too. The atmosphere was unmatched. Everyone there was so down to earth and nice. Not like the ones on Twitter anyway. It matched the feelings I had back for the Anniversary Symphony, where everyone collectively came together to appreciate art in video game form. And to that I thank everyone involved. It was the perfect quintessential night for any Sonic fan. If you can, please go to one of these events. It really does suck that there really isn't that many venues, especially in Europe. And as of recently, the one in Germany, the Dusseldorf one, has just been postponed, which really does suck. But I hope the support and appreciation they've got for the first show has made them even more eager to make more of these experiences possible for everyone. Because this is something everyone deserves to experience, and I feel so lucky and grateful that I was there on Saturday night to witness it in person. So there you have it, a very in-depth review of the Sonic Symphony event in London on Saturday 16th of September 2023. Did you go to the event? If so, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments, and if you are planning to go to events, I hope you're just as excited as I was. That is it from me though. If you did like the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Plan on doing plenty more videos relating to the Symphony and Sonic music in general, so stay tuned. All I have to say is see you next time.